So Razer finally announced their cell phone. They did it earlier today at a keynote presser where they talked all about this cell phone. Originally, they started by giving us information about the company, but it was pretty clear right away everyone was there for their cell phone unveiling because they've mostly made pretty much items and gear for gamers. Not really a niche audience, definitely not a big mainstream audience that like something like a cell phone would cater to. Well, they show up and they give us the rundown, and they actually had some pretty cool features for this new device. So let's take a look at some of the specs and really some of the things that could set it apart, and then some of the things that could hurt it when it goes up against some of the big boys, you know, like the Apple iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy devices. We're gonna roll through the specs pretty quick. Here is a Snapdragon 835 processor with an Adreno 540 GPU. It's very similar to, say, the Galaxy S8 Plus, for example. Has 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is a big differentiating factor there because it has more RAM than any other cell phone out there right now. A pretty large display at 5.7 inches, and then it has a resolution of 2560 by 1440. So as they say, it has a 2K display. And the biggest thing about their display right now is that it's a 120 hertz screen with what they call ultra motion, which is essentially kind of what G-Sync is for NVIDIA with desktops. Ultra motion is to mobile devices. So the GPU on the board for the phone will synchronize with the display for when it's supposed to be drawing frames, which will give it a much better look. So you won't have things like torn frames or misplaced or missed frames, essentially. Battery capacity of 4,000 milliamp hours, and then 64 gigabyte storage with, of course, expandability through micro SD cards. Now, the biggest takeaway here is the 120 hertz screen that, well, doubles the refresh rate of any other phone on the market right now. 60 hertz is pretty much the consensus for most phones. Here's a phone that doubles that, and what that's going to give you is a much more fluid look. For example here, when you're using Android and you swipe around, it can look kind of blurry when you're doing that at times. This will eliminate that and should make it look much cleaner when you move around. If you watch video a lot on your phone, whether it's YouTube videos or Netflix or whatnot, the frame rate will also help with that. So there won't be as much ghosting on things like fast moving objects, for example, and it'll just make it look just overall better. That paired with the ultra motion will just give you a better experience with your device. I do like that they opted for a larger battery. I need to see more battery benchmarks, but of course if you have a better battery and it's using the same processor, something like the Galaxy S8 Plus, it should get relatively the same battery life. I had some questions because I feel like the GPU may have to work a little more if you want that 120 hertz pretty much hammering away the whole time, but according to them, it still gets pretty good battery life. Overall, they even quoted something like Hearthstone playing for 7 hours. This is also going to be the first phone that supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 4 Plus, and according to them, this will allow you to go from 0%, so a completely drained battery, up to 85% in 1 hour, which is pretty good. Of course, I've explained this before on this channel. When you get to that last 10-15%, it takes longer. It just does. But to be able to go from 0 to 85% if you're kind of in a pinch and maybe you're stopped off somewhere at like a friend's house, or maybe you're near one of those like those power centers that they call them at like the mall, and you have like 15 minutes, you should get enough of a charge to at least like make a phone call or go throughout the rest of the day, possibly just by sitting there for a little while. So I like that they're using this new Qualcomm quick charge method. It could be interesting to see in tests. The back has a 12 megapixel dual camera with both wide angle lenses and a 2x optical zoom, so to use 2 different lenses at the same time to give you really different effects, whether it's zoom or depth of field, which is pretty cool. It's going to ship with Android 7.1.1, although according to them, Android 8.0 or Oreo will make its way to the device soon. No real date on that yet. And again, they say this phone, the Razer phone, it's a phone for gamers, not a gaming phone. I don't really know how they would keep this as a gaming phone, considering it has no real physical controls or anything. It's available for pre-order starting at $699 USD, and it has a release date of November 17th. Now let's talk about some of the things that I saw with this presentation and then some of the follow-up coverage, because there are some cons that I'm seeing here that are a little alarming. The first one, there's no headphone jack, and that's a deal breaker for a lot of people, and it looks like a lot of the market is really moving away from the headphone jack, but myself and others, I don't think are ready to let that go yet. The one thing I'll at least give them here, it comes with, according to them in the box, it comes with a USB Type-C to headphone jack adapter. It comes in the box at least, so that's good, but if you lose it or misplace it, I don't know if it's going to work with every single one out there. That's still something we need to see. And again, I don't know. I miss the headphone jack. I'd like it to stick around for a little while at least. It also does not have any wireless charging from what we've seen. It's not waterproof or even water resistant, something that could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. And according to them, they said it themselves, it's a proprietary screen. Do not drop this. Do not break the screen because it will cost a lot of money. Even if you go to a repair place, they might not even be able to get the screen. It's proprietary. So I guess either get insurance or figure something out to protect it, whether it's an outer box of some kind or something. Because if you drop it and break it, you're going to go through a lot probably to get it working and get it fixed. It might even be worth at that point to buy another phone because that screen could be most of the cost. I also question their ability to enter the cell phone market with the Razer branding. They're going up against established cell phone providers. Someone like Samsung, for example, has been around for a while and they didn't even take off right away. It took them a while to chip away at the market and make a nice little spot for them. Apple, of course, was there pretty quickly with their smartphone and the iPhone way back in the day, so they've been around long enough. And again, it took a little while for Samsung to really claw their way up, but now they're pretty much leading the cell phone race. And I don't know, it's gonna be tough for Razer. They're known by gamers, by it is a niche audience compared to the mainstream consumer who might not know Razer, right? They know Apple, they know Samsung, they know HTC maybe, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they fit in right there with that price. The pricing's good. $699 is less than the new Galaxy phone, the S8 Plus. It's less than the Pixel. It's less than the iPhone X. So it has a good place in there with pricing if you want to buy it off contract. On contract, it might even be less than the others as well. I could see this being maybe a $200 phone on contract. So that's the only thing they really have going for them over the others. It's going to take a little while, and I hope they know this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. If you want to make a place for yourself in the cell phone race, you're going to spend some time there trying to really hammer out a spot for yourself, chip away at the cell phone market to kind of put a nice little spot for you in there because they're not going to know you right away, Razer. You're going to have to spend some time there. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the Razer cell phone. Is it what you were expecting? Were you pleasantly surprised by some features, something like the 120 hertz screen? I was. I thought that was really cool. I hope at this point, if anything else, if Razer is not successful in the marketplace, if anything else, I hope they push Samsung to thinking, or even Apple to thinking, wow, that 120 hertz is pretty cool. Maybe we'll put that in the next Galaxy phone or the next iPhone because, yeah, 120 hertz is better than 60 hertz. It just is. It's going to give you a better experience. But let me know what you guys think down below. I'm curious, pricing, release date. Are you getting one? Do you think it's good enough to get? All of that stuff, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow morning for Newswave.